Playing NPR News Now from Spotify. Here's the latest episode, NPR News, April 26, 2025, 8 p.m. EDT. Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. President Trump is back in the U.S. after his very brief trip to Vatican City to attend Pope Francis's funeral. As NPR's Deepa Shivaram reports, while there, he met with Ukraine's Zelensky.
The meeting between Trump and Zelensky took place in St. Peter's Basilica shortly before the funeral program began. The White House hasn't released any detail of the conversation between the two leaders. But Trump posted on his social media platform Truth Social and said he thinks Russian leader Vladimir Putin might be, quote, tapping me along and doesn't want to end the war. He was critical of Russia's attacks on civilian areas and floated the idea of sanctions against Russia, but provided no further detail. Trump is spending the rest of the weekend at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News.
Pope Francis was laid to rest in a basilica in Rome today. He's the first pope in more than 100 years to be buried outside of Vatican City. World leaders and hundreds of thousands of others paid their respects to Francis this morning. He died Monday at the age of 88. NPR's Jason DeRose has more from Rome.
Presidents and kings and princes of the church gathered to bid Francis farewell, also laity and clergy from around the world. The traditional Requiem Mass, sung in Latin, also included prayers in Chinese and Arabic, languages from the global south where the church is vibrant. Following the funeral itself, Francis' body was driven across town over the Tiber River to the Basilica of St. Mary Major for burial. There, he was seen to his final resting place by a group representing those on whom Francis focused his ministry: refugees, homeless people, the poor, and victims of violence. Jason DeRose, NPR News, Rome.
Meanwhile, now that Francis has been laid to rest, a 9-day period of mourning begins, followed by a conclave to select a new pope. Large-scale job cuts at the IRS don't appear to have affected this year's tax filing season. NPR Scott Horsley reports the agency has processed slightly more returns so far than at this time last year.
More than 140 million people filed tax returns by the week of the April 15th deadline, and so far, about 98% of those returns have been processed. That's slightly ahead of last year's pace, even after the IRS laid off thousands of workers this spring. Refunds also appear to be going out on schedule. More than 60% of tax filers get money back from the government. The average refund this year is more than $2,900. About 1 in 6 taxpayers waited until the last week to file, but that's not unusual and doesn't appear to have caused any backlog. Many more job cuts are looming at the IRS, though. That's likely to inhibit the agency's ability to go after wealthy tax cheats. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington. The third round of talks between Iran and the U.S. over Tehran's nuclear activities ended today after several hours of negotiations between senior officials and teams of technical experts from both sides. A senior administration official says today's talks were positive and productive. Iran's foreign minister told state TV that disagreements remain between the two sides, but that he is cautiously optimistic that they can make progress. Talks will continue soon, with Oman continuing to mediate the talks. A deal could transform Iran's economic and political landscape by easing U.S. sanctions. The son of a famed football coach, Deion Sanders, has been drafted by an NFL team after several days of anticipation that left fans and analysts nervous. NPR's Shondalise Duster has more.
Shedeur Sanders was selected by the Cleveland Browns as the 144th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft on Saturday. Sports analysts had expected Sanders to be drafted in the first round, but he was surprisingly passed over by teams during the draft's first 2 days. But Sanders was optimistic, and after Saturday's announcement, thanked the team for giving him a chance. He also said the moment was perfect timing.
Just got to remain positive, stay happy at all times, and God got you. I knew the whole time God had me, so I wasn't really panicking because I understood it's about perfect timing.
Sanders was a quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes under his father and named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Shondalise Duster, NPR News.
And I'm Janine Herbst, NPR News in Washington.
This message comes from Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile took what's wrong with wireless and made it right, They offer premium wireless plans for less, and all plans include high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, and nationwide coverage. See for yourself at mintmobile.com/switch.
Wait, don't